Beyond the horizon of black holes lies the secret we were never meant to know. The universe is vast, more immense than any mind can truly grasp. Stars burn with a fury we cannot control. Planets spin in silent orbits. And in the deepest corners of space, black holes lurk, devouring everything, bending time and light itself. Dr. Alara Myles stared at the holographic map of the galaxy in the control room of the starship Odyssey. Her fingers hovered over the controls, but she hesitated. Beyond the coordinates she had traced lay something no human had ever dared approach, a black hole unlike any other. "Alara, are you seriously thinking about going there?" asked Commander Ren Taro, his voice steady but tinged with concern. He leaned against the control console, eyes fixed on the same glowing point in space. "I have to," Alara replied softly. "The readings from the deep space sensors, they are unlike anything we've seen before. This isn't just a black hole. Something is inside it. Something calling to us." Ren shook his head. "Calling to us? That's not exactly how gravity works." Alara smiled faintly. "Not in this case. This is different. Look at the energy signatures. They're structured, almost deliberate." The ship hummed as the engines powered up. Every crew member felt the tension. They knew the dangers. Once past the event horizon of a black hole, nothing, not even light, escapes. Yet, Alara felt a strange certainty, a pull she could not ignore. "All systems check," said Lieutenant Ven, monitoring the instruments. "Navigation stable. Shields at maximum. No anomalies detected beyond this point." "That's the point," Alara said. "Beyond the point is where we find the truth." She took a deep breath and keyed in the trajectory. The Odyssey shuddered as it accelerated toward the black hole. Time seemed to stretch, colors bending unnaturally, space folding around the ship. "Visual sensors are showing, nothing makes sense," Ben muttered, eyes wide. The stars ahead were twisted, drawn into streams of light that twisted and spiraled toward a dark center. Ren clenched the edge of the console. "We're approaching the event horizon. You still sure about this?" Alara nodded. "I have to know." The moment they crossed the threshold, everything changed. Light fractured into impossible patterns, the stars behind them disappearing into the void. The instruments went haywire. The crew felt a strange weightlessness, as though the rules of reality were bending. Then a voice spoke. Not over the comm system, but inside their minds. It was soft, ancient, and impossibly powerful. "You were never meant to find this, yet here you are." The crew froze. Words had never come from the void before. And yet, there it was, an intelligence reaching out from beyond the horizon. Alara swallowed hard. "It knows we're here," she whispered. Ren's eyes narrowed. "And it's talking to us." A soft glow began to form at the center of the black hole, a light that seemed alive. Shapes emerged, shifting, moving, almost like memories of the universe itself. Galaxies, stars, civilizations, they all flickered, intertwined with something far older and more profound than time. Ven spoke first. Is this the secret?" Alara stepped closer to the view panel, mesmerized. "Not yet. But I think it's trying to show us." The light pulsed, and suddenly, images flooded their minds. A civilization that had existed before humanity, far older than any records could hold, had unlocked knowledge beyond comprehension. They had reached beyond space and time, discovering truths the universe had hidden for reasons no one could understand. Ren whispered, "We're not supposed to see this, are we?" Alara shook her head. "No. But we already have." The black hole was no longer a void. It was a gateway. And beyond it lay a secret that could change everything humanity thought it knew about existence. But with that knowledge came a warning, etched into the very fabric of reality: some truths are too dangerous. Some discoveries are forbidden. And some doors, once opened, can never be closed again. The Odyssey trembled as a new force stirred within the black hole, as if the universe itself were watching. Alara gripped the console tightly. "Whatever lies beyond, we face it together." And with that, the ship plunged deeper into the unknown, crossing a boundary that no human had ever crossed before. The Odyssey drifted in the strange, luminous void beyond the black hole's event horizon. Time behaved strangely here. Seconds stretched like hours, and yet, in some moments, it collapsed entirely. The crew moved cautiously, guided more by instinct than instruments, as most of them had stopped functioning. Alara felt it first, a tug at the edges of her consciousness. Thoughts not her own pressed against her mind, whispers of knowledge and warnings. "Alara, do you feel that?" Ren asked, his voice trembling slightly. "It's like the black hole itself is alive."
Alara nodded.
"Alive, yes.
And aware.
It's not just energy, it's intelligence. Something that remembers everything." Ven stepped closer to the main view panel. "Look at that." The glow from the black hole had condensed into a pattern of geometric shapes, shifting and intertwining. It looked like a city of light, infinite in scale, impossible in its perfection.
Alara's breath caught.
"It's showing us a civilization. Ancient," Ren said quietly. "Before humans. Before any life we know." The shapes pulsed rhythmically, and then the whispers coalesced into coherent images. Entire galaxies flashed by, planets, stars, the birth and death of civilizations. The crew realized with a shiver that this black hole was more than a cosmic monster. It was a memory bank, a living archive of everything that had ever existed, and everything that might. Then the light shifted, forming a single figure, a being made entirely of radiance. Its form was humanoid, but its presence was overwhelming. The voice returned, more commanding now, resonating in every corner of their minds. "You have come far. You have crossed the boundary that no species before yours has dared. You seek knowledge, but are you prepared for its cost?"
Alara swallowed hard. "We are.
Whatever it takes, we must know." The being regarded her, and for a moment, the black void seemed to bend around its attention.
"Knowledge is not without consequence.
The truths of the universe are threads, delicate and entwined. To pull one may unravel others." Ren muttered, "Great. So, we might destroy everything just by looking."
Alara ignored him.
She focused on the patterns in the light, the secrets waiting to be revealed. Images of civilizations rising and falling, of stars being born and collapsing, flashed around them. Then came something different, a series of symbols, complex and alien. They were not just information. They were instructions, a language that transcended human comprehension.
I
think it's showing us how to see the universe differently," Ven whispered. "Not through our eyes, but through understanding itself." Alara stepped closer, reaching out as if she could touch the light. This could change everything. Physics, biology, history, all of it. We could learn the truth about existence. The being's light pulsed again.
"Truth is not yours to hold. Some doors are locked for a reason."
"Curiosity may guide, but it can also destroy." Suddenly, the ship shuddered violently. Alarms blared as the Odyssey's systems flickered. The black hole was reacting, not like a natural phenomenon, but like a sentient force protecting its secrets. Ren shouted, "Alara, we need to stabilize the ship." She gritted her teeth, fingers flying over the controls. "I know. But I can't leave. This is the moment we've been chasing." Ven looked pale. "Do we even know what we're chasing anymore?"
Alara shook her head.
"We're chasing the truth. Whatever it costs." The light intensified, enveloping the ship. The crew felt themselves pulled into visions, not just images, but experiences. They saw themselves as observers of the universe, but also as part of it. Every decision, every action of humanity, every life that had ever existed was connected to this immense, hidden network of knowledge. Ren closed his eyes, trying to hold on to reality. "This is more than science. This is existence itself." Alara whispered, "And we're only beginning to understand." The figure of light stretched, expanding into the ship, its presence nearly suffocating in its power. Then, as suddenly as it appeared, it withdrew, leaving behind a single phrase inscribed in the void. "The horizon is not the end. Beyond it, you will find what you were never meant to know. But beware, knowledge has a price." The Odyssey drifted silently. The crew was shaken, their minds alive with new understanding and deep unease. They had glimpsed something ancient, something profound, and something dangerous.
Alara looked at her team.
"We have a choice.
We can go back, or we can go further." Ren exhaled slowly.
"And risk everything." "Yes," Alara said firmly, "because some truths aren't meant to wait forever." And with that, the Odyssey prepared to journey deeper into the unknown, past the horizon where reality itself began to twist, toward secrets that could change the fate of every world, the Odyssey drifted farther into the shifting light of the black hole. Time was fractured here. Minutes felt like hours, and hours seemed to collapse into fleeting instants. The ship's instruments were mostly useless, replaced by strange patterns of energy and flickering visions that filled the control room. Alara stood at the view panel, her eyes fixed on the swirling vortex ahead. We've passed the threshold. Beyond this point, there's no turning back. Ren's hands tightened around the edge of the console. No turning back? You don't mean just physically, do you? Alara shook her head. Not physically. Mentally. Emotionally. Everything we know will be challenged. Ven swiveled in his chair, watching as streams of light bent around them in impossible directions. It's like the universe itself is breathing. A low hum filled the ship. It wasn't mechanical. It was organic, resonating through their bodies. Then the whisper returned, clearer, sharper, almost urgent. You are not ready, yet you come. Every choice leads to revelation, and every revelation demands sacrifice. Alara pressed her hands to her temples, trying to focus. Sacrifice? What kind of sacrifice? The black light shifted, forming shapes that resembled doors, but doors made of energy, pulsating with impossible geometries. Each door shimmered with colors the human eye could not fully comprehend. One path reveals knowledge. One path reveals power. One path reveals yourself, the voice intoned. Choose wisely. Ren muttered under his breath. Great. Doors of doom. Just what we needed. Alara ignored him. We have to try. We can't just drift here forever. The crew moved cautiously, approaching the first shimmering doorway. As they neared, the ship's sensors flickered to life momentarily, revealing what lay beyond, a space that seemed infinite, filled with the glowing echoes of civilizations long extinct. It's beautiful, Ven whispered. And terrifying. Alara nodded. It's a memory. Or a record. The intelligence is showing us fragments of the past. But we need to go further. Ren hesitated. Going further how? Through a door that might kill us. Alara turned to him, eyes steady. Through a door that might teach us everything. They crossed the threshold, and the Odyssey was engulfed in light. Suddenly, they were no longer in the black hole itself but in a realm that defied all understanding. Gravity fluctuated unpredictably, and space itself seemed to ripple. Stars appeared and disappeared in moments. Strange shapes floated. Buildings, cities, entire landscapes, but none adhered to the laws of physics. Ven swallowed hard. This isn't real. It can't be. Alara shook her head. It's real, just not in the way we understand. The black hole, it's showing us alternate layers of reality. Then came the first challenge. A massive, translucent figure appeared before them, composed of thousands of interwoven lights. Its eyes, or what resembled eyes, glowed with ancient knowledge. To proceed, you must face what you fear most. Not death, not pain, but truth. Ren's hand trembled. Truth? What kind of truth? The figure stretched its luminous form, and suddenly, each crew member was isolated in their own mental landscape. Alara found herself standing in a memory, not hers, but someone else's. A world destroyed by greed, by ambition, by curiosity unchecked. She saw civilizations rising, reaching for stars, and then collapsing under the weight of the knowledge they could not contain. Alara gasped. This is a warning. I can feel it. Every civilization here failed because of the same thing we're chasing. The voice returned, calm but unyielding. To learn, you must let go of what you hold dear. Fear, pride, attachment, these bind you. Only through clarity can you see beyond. She felt her fears, her doubts, all of them pressing down on her. But in that moment, she understood. Knowledge without wisdom was destruction. The Odyssey's mission was more than exploration. It was a test. Ren and Ven faced their own visions. Ren confronted failure, entire worlds lost because he couldn't act decisively. Ven faced the unknown, his fear of insignificance in a universe that seemed to ignore him. Alara focused. She let go of her doubts, her fears of loss, her desire to control what she could not. The vision began to shift. The light condensed into a pathway, a way deeper into the black hole, toward the secrets hidden at its heart. The crew regrouped. Alara's voice was steady. We passed the first trial. That's what it was. A test of our minds, our readiness. Ren nodded slowly. I think I understand. We need to survive this, not just physically, but mentally. Ven looked at the glowing path ahead. Then we keep moving. Whatever's at the center, we have to see it. The Odyssey propelled itself forward, the corridors of light stretching infinitely ahead. And as they moved deeper, the whispers returned, softer now, almost reverent. Few come this far. Fewer still endure. Beyond lies the knowledge you were never meant to hold, but it is yours to seek, if you dare. Alara tightened her grip on the console. We dare. We have to. And with that, the crew plunged deeper into the impossible, toward a secret older than time itself, a secret the universe had tried to hide. The Odyssey drifted deeper into the black hole's shifting light. Space seemed to stretch and contract in impossible ways, and the stars around them twisted into patterns no human mind could fully comprehend. The crew's senses strained to adapt. Every moment felt both eternal and fleeting. Alara stood at the main view panel, her hands trembling slightly. We've crossed the first threshold. Now, we enter the heart of it. Ren frowned. And what exactly is the heart of a black hole that talks to us? Alara didn't answer. She couldn't. Words felt inadequate. All she knew was that the path ahead pulsed with energy, dense and alive. It was as though reality itself was breathing, observing, testing them. Ven spoke quietly, almost to himself. I feel like we're inside the universe's memory, like it's showing us everything. A new vision unfolded before the ship. The walls of the void shimmered into images. Civilizations rising from dust, stars collapsing into black holes, planets consumed by fire and ice. The patterns were chaotic yet deliberate, as if the universe itself were narrating a story, one the crew was only beginning to understand. Suddenly, a corridor of pure light opened ahead, and the whispers intensified. This time, the voice was calmer, almost solemn. You are close. Few have endured to this stage. What lies beyond this path is knowledge forbidden, truths the universe has hidden since time began. To know it is to change the fabric of reality itself. Ren swallowed hard. You said it yourself, we weren't meant to see this. Alara's gaze was unwavering. Maybe we weren't, but now that we are, we have a responsibility to understand it. Not for power, not for glory, but for survival, and for humanity. The ship glided through the corridor. Light bent around them in spirals, forming shapes that resembled impossible architecture, towers stretching into infinity, bridges made of stars, stairways of pure energy. Then the first hint of danger appeared. Shadows flickered along the edges of reality. Not shadows in the physical sense, but distortions, like areas where the universe itself resisted observation. The Odyssey's instruments went haywire again, warning of energy spikes that had no clear source. Ven's voice was tight. Whatever this is, it doesn't want us here. Alara nodded. It's the universe protecting its secrets. Or testing us. A pulse of light washed over the ship, and suddenly, each crew member saw something personal. Ren saw worlds destroyed by inaction. Ven saw timelines collapsing, lives erased because of fear. Alara saw civilizations that had reached far beyond humanity, only to vanish when their curiosity went too far. The voice spoke again, firm and resonant. Knowledge without understanding leads to ruin. You must confront your limitations before you can proceed. Alara took a deep breath. Then we confront them. All of them. They pressed on, navigating the corridor of light. The distortions grew stronger, forming walls of energy that seemed alive, responding to their thoughts and fears. The ship's shields shimmered as they passed through, absorbing bursts of energy that would have destroyed any ordinary vessel. At last, they reached a vast chamber at the core of the black hole. It was a space without boundaries, a void filled with floating strands of light, threads that seemed to connect everything. Galaxies, stars, even the crew themselves. Alara realized with awe that this was the architecture of the universe itself, laid bare before them. This, the voice said softly, is the lattice of reality. Here lies the knowledge no being was meant to grasp. Here lies the secret of existence. Alara stepped closer to the strands of light. Each thread seemed to pulse with memory, with life, with infinite possibilities. She reached out, carefully, reverently, and felt a connection she could not describe. It was as though she were touching time itself. Ren and Ven followed, each connecting with a different strand. Images and feelings flooded them. Timelines intertwined, civilizations rising and falling, stars forming and dying, all part of a delicate balance that had been maintained for eons. Ven whispered, This is everything. The universe isn't chaos, it's precise.
Ren's voice was odd.
It's beautiful, but dangerous. If we interfere, we could unravel it all.
Alara nodded.
That's why we must be careful. Knowledge alone isn't enough. We need wisdom to wield it, if we can. The black hole pulsed around them, as if acknowledging their understanding. The light strands twisted, forming a message, not in words, but in comprehension, a truth deeper than language. Beyond this point, the universe seemed to say, lies the knowledge you were never meant to hold, but now, it is yours to face. Choose wisely, for your next step determines not only your fate, but the fate of all that exists. The crew shared a glance, understanding the gravity of the moment. They were about to uncover secrets older than any star, truths that could reshape existence itself. And yet, the challenge was only beginning. Alara whispered, We take the next step, together. The Odyssey surged forward, deeper into the heart of the black hole, toward a revelation that would test every limit of their minds, and every bond they had. The Odyssey advanced deeper into the heart of the black hole, its hull trembling with forces no human mind was meant to comprehend. Light twisted and shimmered around them, bending in impossible ways, forming pathways that seemed to float between dimensions. Alara stood at the console, eyes scanning the glowing threads of reality that stretched infinitely in all directions. We're reaching the core, she said quietly. Everything we've seen so far, it's only a fraction of what's here. Ren's voice was tense. And the fraction we've seen is already bending my mind. What happens when we see the rest? Ven was pale, gripping the edge of his chair. I feel like the universe itself is inside me. Like I'm part of it, and part of it is judging me. Alara nodded, understanding. It's testing us. Not physically, but mentally. Every thought, every fear, it's reflected back at us. The black hole pulsed again, and the voice returned, more insistent than ever. You have come far. Few have reached this stage. But understanding is not given freely. Every revelation exacts a price. Suddenly, the light strands around the ship began to shift violently. Patterns that had been stable moments before now twisted into chaotic spirals, pulling at the crew's minds with relentless force. Visions of destruction flashed. Planets torn apart, stars collapsing, civilizations erased. Ren shouted, Alara, what's happening? She clenched the console. It's the consequence. The black hole is showing us what happens when knowledge is misused, or when it's taken too quickly. Ven's voice shook. I saw timelines collapsing. Entire histories, gone. Was that real? Alara didn't answer immediately. She realized the truth. These were not mere illusions. The threads of the universe were delicate. Even observing them at this depth was causing ripples, testing their ability to wield the knowledge responsibly. Then the voice spoke again, calm but inexorable. Some truths demand sacrifice. Some understanding requires loss. You cannot grasp the whole without paying the price. Alara's stomach tightened. What kind of price? She whispered. The strands of light coalesced into shapes that resembled their deepest fears. Ren saw failure, helplessness, and loss of everything he loved. Ven saw insignificance, a lifetime of efforts erased. Alara saw the extinction of humanity itself, a world swallowed by curiosity and tempered by wisdom. Ren gritted his teeth. I can't. I won't let it happen. Alara placed a hand on his shoulder. You can't fight it alone. None of us can. We have to face it together. The black hole pulsed, the threads of reality wrapping around the ship like tendrils. Images of countless civilizations flashed, each one a warning. Knowledge without understanding leads to ruin. Then came the first trial of consequence. A luminous wave engulfed the Odyssey, and the crew felt themselves physically and mentally separated. Each was placed into a private reality, a personal crucible designed to test their resolve. Alara found herself in a city suspended in starlight. The inhabitants were echoes of humanity, living lives that mirrored every possible choice she had ever made. Some thrived, some failed, some disappeared entirely. She realized the trial's purpose: to confront the cost of knowledge, the consequences of decisions taken too lightly. Ren was facing a battlefield of his own fears, seeing worlds collapse because he hesitated, lives ending due to inaction. Ven was adrift in a sea of timelines, each one erasing his accomplishments and significance. Alara closed her eyes and focused. We can't let fear control us. The knowledge, it's not meant to be destructive. It's a test to see if we can bear it responsibly. Slowly, she reached out to the threads of light in her vision, letting them flow through her mind without attempting to control them. She felt the surge of understanding, the delicate balance of wisdom and curiosity. The visions began to shift, no longer threats, but lessons. Ren's trial changed too. He saw that decisive action, tempered with care, could guide civilizations toward growth rather than destruction. Ven realized that significance comes not from control but from understanding one's place in the universe. Alara's voice echoed in their minds. We endure the trial together. That's the only way. As they accepted the lessons of their personal crucibles, the black hole's chaos around the ship began to stabilize. The threads of reality pulsed in harmony, forming a radiant pathway leading deeper into the heart of the black hole, toward the ultimate secret that awaited them. The voice returned, now softer, almost reverent. You have endured the first consequence. You have learned restraint, patience, and understanding. Beyond this point lies knowledge that no species was meant to hold, but you have proven you may be ready. Alara exhaled, her hands trembling on the console. Ready or not, we go forward. There's no turning back. Ren nodded, determination hardening in his eyes. Together. Whatever comes next, we face it together. Ven swallowed and whispered, and hope we survive it, mentally and physically. The Odyssey surged forward, deeper into the black hole, toward a revelation that would change everything they knew about existence, consciousness, and the universe itself. The Odyssey glided along the radiant pathway that stretched infinitely within the black hole. Every pulse of light, every ripple in the threads of reality, resonated through the ship and the minds of the crew. They were approaching the center, the heart of the black hole, where the universe's most forbidden secrets lay. Alara stood at the main console, her eyes fixed on the pulsing core ahead. This is it. Everything we've prepared for leads here. Ren exhaled slowly, gripping the console. I don't know if I'm ready, or if anyone could ever be ready for this. Ven's hands shook slightly. Ready or not, we have to see it. Otherwise, everything we've endured means nothing. The light ahead intensified, stretching into shapes that seemed to defy space itself. Stars and galaxies folded into impossible geometries. Time bent and fractured, past and future colliding in flashes of color and motion. Then the voice came again, calm but overwhelming. You have journeyed far. You have survived trials of perception, of consequence, of understanding. Beyond this point lies the knowledge no being was meant to hold. What you see here will alter your reality, your understanding of existence, consciousness, and time itself. You will never be the same. Alara nodded. We understand. We accept the risk. Ren glanced at her. Do you, really? Because I feel like reality itself is trying to burn us out. Ven swallowed. It's already doing that. I can feel the threads of the universe pressing against me. The Odyssey entered the core, and the crew saw it, a vast sphere of radiant energy, threads of light spiraling around a singular point of unimaginable density. It was the origin of the black hole's intelligence, the source of the whispers, the keeper of the forbidden knowledge. Alara felt a pull in her mind, drawing her forward. The threads of light connected with her consciousness, weaving memories, visions, and understanding directly into her mind. She saw the birth of the universe, the formation of galaxies, the rise of life, and the evolution of consciousness across countless worlds. Ren's voice was quiet. It's showing us everything. Every choice, every possibility, every outcome. Ven whispered, it's infinite. Then the sphere pulsed, and a single thought echoed in their minds. All knowledge comes at a cost. You may witness the truth of the universe, but you must bear its weight. Some truths can heal, others can destroy. Alara reached out, mentally connecting with the threads. She realized that the black hole was not a destroyer, but a guardian. It preserved knowledge, tested those who sought it, and protected the universe from its misuse. Why us? Alara asked, her voice trembling in her mind. Because you chose understanding over power. Because you endured consequence without fear. Because you are capable of wisdom. Few ever reach this stage. The threads of light shifted, forming a vision of an ancient civilization, long extinct. They had reached this knowledge before humanity, but they had failed to wield it wisely. Their world had collapsed, and their knowledge was preserved here, within the black hole, for those who might succeed. Alara understood then. The secret was not a weapon, not a formula, not a prophecy. It was comprehension itself, the ability to perceive reality as it truly was, to see the threads that connected all things, and to act with awareness and care. Ren's voice shook. So, all this power, all this knowledge, it's a test. To see if we're worthy. Alara nodded. And to ensure that if we fail, the universe survives. That's why it's hidden. That's why we weren't meant to know it, until now. Ven whispered, then what happens next? Do we take it with us? The voice answered softly, reverent, almost like a sigh. The knowledge is not yours to take. It is yours to understand, to carry within your consciousness. You may act with it, influence your world, but the threads of the universe remain protected. To misuse them is to invite collapse. To respect them is to preserve life itself. Alara exhaled, a weight settling on her shoulders. She realized that this moment, this encounter, was not an end, but a beginning. The knowledge they had received would change humanity's understanding of existence, but only if wielded with care. Ren and Ven stood beside her, each of them silent, awed by what they had witnessed. For a moment, there was no fear, no doubt, only comprehension. Alara whispered, we've crossed the horizon. We've seen the secret. And now, we return, wiser, stronger, responsible. The black hole pulsed one final time, as if acknowledging their understanding. Then the threads of light began to fold, spiraling around the Odyssey, guiding them gently back toward the outer void. As the ship moved away from the heart of the black hole, the crew felt themselves reintegrating with the flow of time, space, and reality. They were changed, but intact. They carried the weight of understanding, the knowledge of the universe's threads, and the wisdom to wield it carefully. Alara looked at her team, voice firm. The secret was never meant to be hoarded. It's meant to guide us, if we survive, and if we choose wisely. Ren nodded, finally able to smile faintly. Then let's go home. And let's hope we can use what we've learned, for the right reasons. Ven added quietly, the universe is alive, and we've seen it. And somehow, that makes all of this worth it. The Odyssey emerged from the black hole, back into normal space. The stars no longer twisted unnaturally. Time flowed as it should. Yet the crew knew they were forever changed. They had touched the infinite, confronted the forbidden, and returned, not with weapons or gold, but with understanding. And in that understanding lay the true power of what they had discovered. The Odyssey sailed back into familiar space. The stars were no longer twisted or fractured, planets orbited predictably, and time flowed naturally. Yet the crew felt a weight they could not shake. The knowledge they carried was immense, ancient, and dangerous if misunderstood. Alara sat at the main console, her hands resting lightly on the controls. Her mind replayed the visions of the black hole's core, the threads of reality, the rise and fall of civilizations, the fragile balance of the universe itself. Ren approached her quietly. It feels wrong to be here, after what we've seen. Everything out here seems so small, so limited. Alara nodded. It is small. We've glimpsed the infinite, and nothing we knew before compares. But that's why we have to be careful. The knowledge isn't ours to exploit, it's ours to understand. Ven leaned against the console, still pale. I keep seeing the civilizations we passed in the black hole, extinct, lost, erased. It's haunting. If we misuse what we know, are we next? Alara turned to him, eyes steady. We've been tested. The black hole chose us because it believed we could bear the responsibility. We must remember that wisdom is more important than power. That's the difference between surviving and destroying ourselves. The ship's communication system crackled. Odyssey, do you read? This is command. Ren exhaled. Finally, someone's alive out there. He keyed the command. This is the Odyssey. We're back. There was silence. Then a voice, cautious and urgent. Odyssey, report your status. We've had no contact since your entry into the sector. Alara replied carefully. We are intact. The mission exceeded expectations. We've encountered something extraordinary. A phenomenon beyond anything previously known. We've obtained knowledge, but it is not something to be taken lightly. Its use requires extreme caution.
Command was silent for a long moment.
Extraordinary. In what way?
Alara exhaled slowly. It's the truth of existence.
The structure of reality. The rise and fall of civilizations. The interconnection of life, time, and consciousness itself. We've seen the architecture of the universe.
Ren glanced at her. We've seen it, but we can't explain it. Not fully.
Words are not enough. The line went quiet again, as if the listener struggled to comprehend. Alara knew then that the universe itself had spoken, and no one who had not experienced it could fully understand. Ven whispered, "Do we tell anyone? Or do we keep it safe?"
Alara looked at the swirling stars outside. We tell what must be told.
We guide, we teach, but we protect the full scope. The universe entrusted this knowledge to those who can bear it responsibly. That's us. For now.
Ren shook his head.
Responsible. Sometimes I wonder if anyone could truly be responsible with this.
Alara's gaze hardened. That's why it's not for everyone. Some doors are never meant to be opened. But we've passed the trial, and we carry the secret carefully.
We act wisely, or we fail. The ship drifted through normal space, the black hole now a distant, unreadable point in the void. Yet the crew knew it was always there, a guardian of infinite knowledge, waiting for the next to prove themselves worthy.
Alara's voice was soft but resolute.
We went beyond the horizon. We faced the secret we were never meant to know. And we returned. Not with power, but with understanding. That is what matters. Ren exhaled slowly, a mix of relief and awe. Then we live with it, and hope that understanding is enough.
Ven nodded.
And that the next generations respect what we've learned. Otherwise.
Alara finished the thought for him.
Otherwise, everything we've seen, everything we've endured, could be for nothing. That is the responsibility we carry. The Odyssey continued its journey, carrying humanity's first glimpses of the infinite. The stars outside were familiar, but inside the crew, the universe had forever changed. They had seen the threads of existence, touched the architecture of reality, and survived the black hole's trials. And though the secret lay within them, the challenge was only beginning. To live with knowledge that could create or destroy, to act with wisdom in a universe that had tested their very understanding, and to guide humanity forward without succumbing to the temptation of forbidden power. Alara looked out at the stars, whispering to herself, "We were never meant to know this, but now we do.
And we must be worthy of it."
The ship sailed onward, carrying not just explorers, but guardians of a truth older than time itself. The Odyssey glided through familiar space, its hull humming softly as normal time and gravity returned. Outside the windows, stars twinkled predictably, planets rotated in their orbits, and the void seemed calm. Yet inside, the crew felt the weight of the knowledge they carried, an understanding of the universe that no human had ever possessed. Alara sat quietly at the main console, her eyes tracing the familiar constellations. They were unchanged, yet everything had changed. In her mind, she replayed the threads of reality, the patterns of light, the civilizations lost and preserved within the black hole. The universe had revealed itself, and she had seen its hidden truth. Ren leaned against the console, voice low. "I keep thinking, what we've seen, it's beautiful, yes, but dangerous. One wrong step, and humanity could destroy itself."
Alara nodded. That's why we must be careful. Knowledge alone is not power. Wisdom is the key.
That is the lesson the black hole gave us, through trial and consequence.
Ven, still pale from their ordeal, added softly, "It's like carrying a star inside your mind.
It illuminates, but it can also burn."
Alara smiled faintly. "Then we carry it with care.
We guide, we teach selectively, and we protect what must remain hidden. The universe entrusted us with this because we proved ourselves capable. That responsibility is heavier than any star, but lighter than the weight of ignorance." The crew fell silent, each lost in contemplation. They had seen the architecture of reality itself, the delicate balance of time, space, and life. They had faced visions of destruction, confronted the consequences of curiosity unchecked, and emerged alive, but forever changed. Alara spoke again, quieter this time. "We were never meant to know this, but we do. And now we must be worthy of it. The black hole's secret isn't a weapon, a map, or a tool, it's understanding. And understanding demands action guided by wisdom."
Ren exhaled slowly.
"Then we return,
to humanity, to our world, to our time. And we live with what we've learned. Ven nodded. We carry the secret, but we don't flaunt it. We act responsibly.
That's our choice, our duty. The Odyssey continued its journey toward known space.
The stars no longer twisted or shimmered unnaturally.
Planets moved predictably, and time flowed as it should. Yet the crew knew that nothing would ever be the same. They had touched the infinite, glimpsed the forbidden, and survived. Alara stood at the window, gazing out at the cosmos. The horizon we crossed, the secret we uncovered, it changes everything. Humanity will never see the universe the same way we do. And that is our responsibility, to guide, to protect, to understand.
Ren stepped beside her.
Do you think they'll ever be ready?
Alara shook her head gently. Perhaps not. But we will be.
That is enough, for now. Ven looked out at the stars with quiet reverence.
We've become something more than explorers.
Guardians, maybe. Witnesses to the universe's truth. Alara smiled faintly, a mixture of awe and determination. Guardians, yes.
And survivors.
And perhaps one day, humanity will learn what we have learned, not by seeing the secret itself, but by understanding the responsibility it demands. The Odyssey sailed onward, leaving the black hole behind. Its lessons were carried not in data or reports, but in the minds and hearts of those who had faced the infinite and returned. The secret they had discovered would shape their lives, their choices, and the future of humanity itself. And as the stars stretched out before them, infinite and unyielding, the crew understood the truth. Some doors are never meant to be opened. Yet when they are, the price is not power or knowledge, but wisdom, courage, and the resolve to carry the weight of the universe responsibly. Alara whispered to herself, eyes on the distant horizon. We were never meant to know this, and yet, now we do.
And we will not fail.
The Odyssey sailed into the light of the stars, carrying humanity's first witnesses to the infinite, the guardians of a secret that was never meant to be known, and the hope that one day, the universe itself might be understood.